Welcome to the final day of racing at the 44 Cup 2024 World Championships in Brunnen, Switzerland. After 3 lively days of racing, the points are super close between the 9 teams and it's all to play for. 2 race wins yesterday pulled CEEREF Racing up into 3rd, pushing event host Christian Zeuer's Black Star Racing team down to 4th, now 3 points short of the podium. But all eyes today will be on Team CEEREF Vaider and Team Nika, who are tied on points with a Slovenian team ahead on comeback. Let's jump straight into the action and see how the teams are lining up for this, the first race of the day. It's race 9 and it's windy again. This time the wind's from the north, and as they come off the starting line, it's a very close start line for everybody. The 2 boats on the left hand side of the picture, Artemis, Nika, and the Black Star boat just tapped off with the big red star on their sail. Artemis and Black Star flicking off to get to the right hand side of the racecourse. They desperately want to get out to that far side of the shore. And looking at this picture here, the valley's constricting at this point, so the wind's accelerating through the gap. Looking across the picture, and in the far distance you can see there's a big hill on the far right hand side of the racecourse as you look upwind. 2 boats are split off, these 2 in front of the camera right now. Artemis have sailed hard into the right hand side with Black Star and they've massively benefited. Looking slightly back now as they round, you see Nika and Aqua coming in 3 and 4, and the guys in Artemis getting the jib down, making sure they're all prepped so they can jibe back into this Black Star smooth in their rounding here. The trimmer pulling the sheet off the winch so they can get ready for a jibe. Artemis jibes. They really desperately want to get out into that left hand side of the run looking downwind here. They've got a massive margin from 1 leg so far on Aqua in 3rd, with Nika fighting hard and another strong upwind from them in 4. But close on their heels are Peninsula and Team CEEREF Vaider, who are in the title fight, pushing very, very hard. Down the run, things pretty much stay the same. Artemis, however, have extended their lead somewhat. Black Star, nice and solid, need this really good counting 2nd place here. They're wanting to get any sort of gap they can between them and the 2 boats who are leading overnight, Team CEEREF and Team Nika. The 3rd boat down is Aqua, with their Team Ellen MacArthur logo on their big spinnaker. As we look at this rounding here, Black Star want to take all the speed they can into this upwind course, smoothly transitioning from downwind to upwind. Oh, and look, CEEREF have jumped up the rankings. They've made some gains. They're now in front of their main rival, Team Nika. They come into this mark and they're going to have control coming up into this next upwind. Certainly been able to dictate which side they want to come in, but their spinnaker's not quite coming in. They've got a slight issue here. Going high out of the rounding to be able to put the next boat around Team Nika in their dirty wind. Nika round, but they're a bit slower, losing a little bit of gauge there. A massive extension on this upwind for Artemis. They come into the top here. The bowman desperately trying to get all that kite out nice and early. The tack's coming out. The grinders pumping those handles, making sure that this kite flies into the sky nice and fast. There's a slight issue though, the kite hasn't really set quite properly, but they've got a huge margin here. They're having to grind the kite up against the load in the sheet. Now it's just the top and it sets, now they can speed away. Black Star still with a couple of tacks to do. They've maintained their 2nd place, but they've for sure dropped back a little bit relative to Artemis. But it's again tight as you look back down the pecking order. It's Team Aqua on the starboard ley line here with Team CEEREF Vaider just ducking them to come into this starboard ley line. And then in 5 is Team Nika. The pressure they're still applying in this regatta is relentless. And those 2 boats still fighting hard. Black Star, a nice rounding here. The kite's going up swiftly. They're going to try and do the same as the Artemis team, but again they've had a little issue when these spinnakers aren't zipped for the 2nd downwind. then it's difficult. The kite doesn't always go out super smoothly. The team's last downwind, they all went into this left-hand side looking at the picture here. And Artemis is showing they want to do that again. So Aqua, they round in 3. Team CEEREF Vaider, they're rounding in 4. But their main rivals, Team Nika, are rounding in 5. These 2 boats are sailing the regattas of their lives. Turning the boat on Team Nika here, the golden wheels as the overall season leader. And as they do that, Team CEEREF, they jibe out immediately to get to that far shore, the cliffs we can see here. But as we look down the course, it's Team Artemis. Artemis nailed that race, putting a fantastic result into their tally for the overall standings for the regatta. That will certainly shift them up their overall rankings. But the local team, Team Black Star with Christian Zura at the helm, they've done an excellent job in this race. But as we look back up the course, there's still plenty to play for in the 3, 4, 5 placings. Looks at the moment like there's a very tight cross there between CEEREF on port and Nika on starboard. Coming down into the finish, it's Aqua who just get the upper hand on those 2. But the finish line is the time when it's just crucial to make every last little ounce of effort work. And it's CEEREF who nails it down on the finish line. They take a 1-point slender lead going into the second race of the day. We're now at the start of race 10. The wind shifted right. Team Nika off the starboard end. An excellent start for them, but 4 boats didn't even get to start. They're late at the starboard end, having to wait until the Nika boat and the Spanish boat really nailed that starboard end. At the far side is the Black Star boat and CEEREF. They've elected to keep out of trouble. But as we see here, Peninsula Racing, they really want the right-hand side. They've started late, unfortunately, but they're into this right-hand side because they want more pressure. And all the boats now are just licking onto port to take a really nice left shift as they come out on the exit of the start line. That little bit of opportunity into this cliffs on this side of the race course has been super beneficial for Team Charisma here. They're leading, crossing onto the ley line for the starboard, ley line for the windward mark, with Team Nika hot on their heels. That's a great result for Team Nika. They're in really solid position now. Good margin to the next boats, and it's super hectic with the next boats. Nico Poons here and his Charisma team, lovely rounding, boats nice and flat, the spinnakers going up nice and easily. They're setting the kite, and as we come round here, Vladimir's boat turns down, those golden wheels there being helping urge the boat into some speed for the downwind. Oh, but there's a penalty back in the pack. Team Artemis have been given a penalty for an approach on port onto starboard. They're having to do a penalty before the mark. That gives the Calero Marinas team, the Spanish team, 3rd place at the moment, and 4th was CEEREF. As we come down into the leeward mark for the first time, it's Charisma. Charisma sailed into these big cliffs. They did a lovely job, nice and simple, carrying the pace of the boat into this rounding. The tactician standing there pointing towards the angle that he'd like the boat to be sailed at on the exit to the mark. Nika in a solid second here. This really helps the overall title fight against Team CEEREF. Turning the boat up, making sure that the sails are perfectly trimmed as they exit the mark. And as they come out of the leeward mark, we can see both boats heading towards those huge cliffs. Those cliffs seem to be a real game feature on this race course today, and that's the one that everybody's really keen to try and get to. Looking into the back in the fleet here, it's been a really up and down race so far on this downwind. On the far left of the spinnakers, that's Team CEEREF. They jumped forward again, and they've made it all the way up to 3rd. They've overtaken the Spanish and made sure of their position coming into this bottom mark. Black Star Racing fighting super hard here. They're going to come into this leeward mark rounding in 4, with the Spanish Calero Marina team in 5. That puts the overall standings with Nika at the moment and CEEREF tied on points once again. CEEREF looking upwind, the tacticians desperately scanning to see where the best wind is on the racecourse. The two leading boats showing where the wind is. The wind's slightly right phase at the moment, so that means that they're going to want to make sure they get a nice clear lane out to this right hand side. Coming into the top, similar distances between the top two. They've really made sure they stamp their authority on this race, and they're putting a huge effort in to try and extend away from the fleet. Looking, pointing where the exit that the boat needs to be for this last rounding. Nice work here from the Dutch team, but there's a big twist in the spinnaker. Is that going to come out? Yes, it's going to pop out. Team Nika, current equal leaders, rounding into. The pitman pulling the tack out. The grinders grinding to get that huge big white spinnaker in the sky, helping them progress down the run. So as Team Nika exit the women mark, Charisma has already jibed. In third, a solid third at the moment, is Team CEEREF. This, in the overall standings, means that Team Nika and Team CEEREF are equal points after this race. They ease the jib fast and the mainsail goes out. The team are desperately trying to get those spinnakers flying and the jib down so that this kite sets easily. They've got a good 5 or 6 lengths margin on the other guys. As we come down into the bottom of the race course, there's a kite. There's a wing foiling person in the water just to the right-hand side of these boats, just trying to keep out of the way of the fleet of these hugely powerful RC-44s. Team Charisma jibing gracefully coming down into the finish line. A great result for Team Charisma and Nico Poons. Really good. The main sheet man really happy here, waving and celebrating their race success. Team Nika coming down, last little bit into the finish. This is a crucial race result for them. This puts the overall season leaders with the gold wheels there in equal points going into the final race of the day. 35 points to them and 35 points to Team CEEREF. They cross the line and they're looking back to see where their main rivals are finishing. And they see that they're the next boat. This has been the story throughout the regatta. Nip and tuck between these two boats. Just a dogfight all the way through pretty much every race. They've been fighting back through fleets in tough races and doing a great job of leading and extending on in others. The Slovenian team, CEEREF and Vaider, in 3. That puts them equal points with Team Nika. The start of the last race, and there's been a bit of a to and fro with the two leading boats. At this right-hand end, Team Nika get the upper hand. They start at the starboard end, but there's a match race already. Team CEEREF Vaider, they tack off, but Nika aren't going to let them have any control. They're going to make sure they match every tack for tack going on this upwind. And both these boats tack off, head out towards the right. Nika putting themselves between the windward mark, which is where this camera is showing the shot from, and the opposition, which is Team CEEREF, for the overall title. They sail out to the right-hand side, but there's a big pack of boats going out to the left. Who's going to win out on this upwind for the best wind on this upwind leg? Right now, the favoured side of the right-hand side from the previous races is the side these guys are heading forward. But the Team CEEREF, they don't want to get caught in that side. They tack. But a covering tack, a match racing covering tack from Team Nika. Really wanting to make sure they don't give any margin for Team CEEREF to be able to come out and get out of their tight control. Both these boats, because of the fact they've done more manoeuvres, already showing that they're back a little bit to the boats that just take a nice, clean option out of the middle of the race course. That's Charisma coming across on port, and also Team Aleph. But at the top, it's been the left-hand side of the race course that's benefited this time. That's Team Aqua. But look, it's Team Blackstar. Team Blackstar now, if they win this race, they are guaranteed, with the other two boats who they're vying for the lead at the back of the pack, they will be the leaders and the winners of the regatta. It's Aqua who rounds first though. They round and set nicely, Team Black Star charging at those handles, desperately trying to take all the speed out of the boat. They want to make sure they maintain that lead and that advantage. And looking back down the pack, there are 2 boats at the back. The 2 boats at the back are Team Nika and Team CEEREF Vaider. Those 2 boats, these 2 boats in picture here, they're desperately trying to fight tooth and nail, dogfight all the way around this race course. The one of these 2 boats that is in front at the end of the race will be the one ahead in overall standings. And if they don't sail forwards in the fleet, then it may be, if Black Star jump into the lead, that they end up, Black Star could potentially win the regatta. Turning the boat down here on the Team Nika boat, then they're just keen to try and continue on like Peninsula Racing are there out to this right hand side. The right hand side of the picture here has been the favoured side out of the Wimmer Mark, and it's the favoured side for the teams to go into now that this last race the wind has changed a little bit and come round to the left. As we come down the run, the leaders have jibed out already. Nika jibes. Now it's the turn of CEEREF Vaider. They were jibing on top of Team Nika. They want to capitalise and make some gains and try and match race them on the downwind. It's much easier this time to come from behind with wind. You can disturb the wind of the boat in front if you're coming down, as Team CEEREF is here, with an advantage slightly from behind. You take the wind of the boat in front. They've got a good speed here. They're moving forward a little bit relative to Team Nika. Team Nika going to have to be careful when it is that they all drive back onto starboard, because there will be giveaway boat. Looking up the race course here, we've got a great view of how the wind's blowing. It's a lot thicker here, but there are still slight darker patches on the water, and the teams are trying to read that to see where's best to put themselves on the race course. Better wind on the left-hand side down here. Team Aqua here dropping the spinnaker. They've had more wind on this left-hand side of the race course, and they've made an extension relative to Black Star with the big red kite. It's the last up with 2 more legs to go. Turning the boat up now. They're putting the boat in the best possible place they can to look to be able to maintain their speed on this last upwind. However, their opposition here, Black Star, they're going to go around the other mark. They're going to go out into the left-hand side looking for better wind on the left-hand side looking up here. What have we got going on in the rest of the fleet? There are several boats coming in on port here, but 3 boats coming in on starboard, and the 2 to the right are CEEREF and Nika. Currently, these guys are in the medals. Black Star rounding in a medal position. What colour is still to be finalised. So we've got a tight cross here between the 2 boats coming in on starboard and Aleph on port. 2 boats on starboard are Nika and Team CEEREF. The boats are all slightly over-egged the ley line, and Team CEEREF and Team Nika here coming down. They're trying desperately to fight against each other. There's one last jibe for Team CEEREF, but Nika's already going for the rounding on the right-hand side of the screen here. Team CEEREF, they jibe, and now they're into dropping the spinnaker. They want to go out to the left-hand side of the race course, a little bit looking at this picture, so that they get a chance to have a clear route up the race course. 2 boats just in front of them. CEEREF desperately trying to leapfrog over 1 boat. That would then put them into at least second or even first if they get past Nika. The Spanish, they've not had a great rounding, and as that happens, Team CEEREF, they tack up. They want to come into this left-hand side of the racecourse here, where the Monaco boat, the Team Nika boat's tacking out of. Nika, with a big yellow logo on the side of their boat, they're coming across. They want to control, if they can cross the Team CEEREF boat. They want to try and make sure they can lead to the side they want. And right now, from the first beat, the best side on the first beat was the left side. The side on the left of our picture here. What's Nika going to do? They're setting up. They're going to attack. They're attacking. They're going back into that left-hand side. What is Team CEEREF going to do? This is make or break. Team CEEREF tack. They're going to tack out now. Try and keep their clear air. Nika, happy for them to go. They want to sail into the side where the camera's coming from. They want to sail into the left-hand side of the racecourse where there was more wind on the last beat. So as we look back on this upwind, the two leading boats sailed the left. They gained again. They've made a big advantage happen. There's a significant lead here for Team Aqua. The lead is just getting richer. And as we come back in the fleet, it's Black Star. We can't ask any more of them at the moment. They're doing a fantastic job of trying to really nail their finishing position as high as possible in this race to try and get themselves into the contention for the lead. At the moment, they're in third. Is there any change going to happen to leapfrog them up the race, up the overall standings? Waiting, and go. The kite head goes swiftly to the top of the mast. So there's a super tight battle between Peninsula, Artemis and Charisma coming in 3, 4, 5. Then, who have we got next? It looks like it's Aleph on the ley line with Team Nika going to just dip them. No infringements needed here. The team from Monaco just need to make it super clean and super simple. They have the upper hand in the battle with Team CEEREF right now. As it stands at the moment, they are world champions, as long as they maintain their position and come down the race course nice and smoothly. Looking back down the course, the team from Slovenia are still fighting though. They're trying to close the gauge. With Aleph racing here, they're turning the boat down and doing a lovely job of speeding away from that mark, and hot on their heels is Team Nika. At the moment, as it stands, Team Nika are world champion position in the overall standings from this individual race result. Coming down the finish, it's the last bit of the last race of the last leg of the RC44 World Championships in Switzerland, in Brunnen, Switzerland. So coming down into the finish here is Team Aqua, who've sailed a superb race. The last jibe to get down in the last race 11 of this series. What a way to finish their regatta. And for Team Black Star, the local heroes, they're coming down as well to do a spectacular job of putting themselves on the podium. They have secured a podium in Switzerland. Look at the expressions on their faces. They are stoked, absolutely made up. They've sailed an excellent regatta this event, and on their home waters too, an outstanding performance. But now all they can do is sit and wait to see what's going to happen in the other placings. So as we look down here, this is Team Nika. They are finishing the race in 7th place overall. And 7th place is going to give them the overall world title. They come down in, and even before they cross the line, they're coasting through the line and they're hugging and they're cheering. They have sailed the regatta of their lives. A fantastic effort and a brilliant outcome. World champions. RC44 World Champions, Team Nika. Congratulations, what an awesome way to finish the event.
It's fantastic. It's the happiest day for years. And it was so tough fight. And well deserved. And the venue is also fantastic. I mean, it's probably the best venue for years, because Christian has done great job. And to sail in this fleet and be able to win, it's something. It's probably the strongest fleet I've ever sailed. So we are very happy, and thank you for everyone. Thank you for the crew. Thank you for my tacticians. Thank you for my boat captain. We have very fast boat. Thank you for Maria and everybody on committee board.
Yeah, obviously very, very happy from this week. It's been really tough, great venue, really hard sailing. And it all came down to the last race, so what more can you ask for? And the team did a great job and kept it all together in that last race. So we're super happy and looking forward to the next one.